Chad Ikes, Tamara Lopes, again here with the American Iron Podcast. Today is part 2 of our interview with Chris Duffin. If you happen to miss that, you can go back and watch part 1 on our YouTube channel. And if you did see it, then we're going to go to part 2 here and finish the interview. Should be exciting.
Very, and welcome back, and thanks for joining us again this week. And without further delay,
let's go to part 2.
go to part 2.
You're not just a lifter, basically, in terms of strength. You've set up the Kabuki strength system, which is an incredible thing, and your knowledge of training is just through the roof. So let me ask you a couple simple questions.
Okay.
What would be, like, when you have a lifter come in here or you see lifters, what's one of the biggest mistakes you see people make? If you can pin that down.
That's tough. There are definite, very consistent things that we see amongst both lifters and general population very often. And a lot of it is due to the environmental factors that we live in today. One, a lot of people are sitting just like we're sitting right now, right?
And slouching like I am. Right
look, we got these things, these little things in our pockets.
So I can go down
and when we're at work, we're sitting at our computers, working the computers, and you know, we're driving back and forth from work to home, and usually in traffic and other stuff. So all these things do a certain set of things to our body.
Right.
And so a lot of times we're dealing with these similar sets of issues over and over and over again.
Right.
So the most common one is, that basically the freezing up of the upper back and a lot of chest breathing that's going on, a lot of those related.
Right.
So the chest breathing will lead into the kind of locked up upper back. We also see that a lot with a lot of bench pressers and stuff where they've lost some scapular, movement. So we see a lot of that going on, and also some of it's due to like your phones and the computers and all that. It actually changes those breathing patterns and gets us into this raised tight posture.
Right.
Just like Jesse over here. He's got that going on. You don't have that going on. Jesse does. And we actually see a lot more with younger populations these days because of a lot of that interaction. So it's just a pure technology, but also the stressors lead into that. That breathing also causes some other issues to go on downstream. So we end up with, a shortened psoas from the sitting, which deactivates our glutes. So we have the gluteal amnesia. You can see it in our elderly population that kind of wobbles around sometimes.
Yes.
They do the waddle because the glutes have just been so dead so long that now they're really dead.
Right.
And then that creates, a lack of awareness of hip position or pelvis orientation, right?
Right.
And then we start moving in the wrong areas because now that the diaphragm isn't working correctly to breathe, we start losing basically our stabilization mechanism where it all starts, both upstream and downstream. Look at a skeleton. Take a look at a skeleton, and you can see a massive amount of structure here and a massive amount of structure here. And there's nothing here. There's just a little spine, right?
Yeah.
Because all of our stabilization comes from a bunch of stuff working together in sequence, and that starts breaking down when the diaphragm isn't working right. So we end up with a lot of back issues, hip issues. Sometimes that levels into maybe it's knee problems, other things, but a lot of it's off of that. I mean, just like a friend of mine, he's kind of leading up a bunch of stuff on back rehab and awareness, and a lot of people don't realize that back pain is the #1 healthcare cost in America. We're talking greater than cancer, greater than heart disease, greater than diabetes. Just like, really?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And it's completely manageable by how we move.
No surgery, no chemo.
I own it. You own it. You own if we got a problem, most of the time we can actually fix it.
Right.
So it's the most manageable.
And how often does it get diagnosed by surgery when it didn't have to be?
Yeah, it didn't have to be
performed.
Yep. So just think of the impact of that. That's so all the stuff that I'm talking about, these environmental factors, that's driving some of the, we're all paying out of pocket for it too.
Right.
So that's that's some pretty typical dysfunction that we see. So there's a lot of like teaching people to hinge, teaching people to breathe, teaching people to brace, working on shoulder mobility issues. So these are all pretty common themes that we see.
Right.
Those are that's the biggest set of themes that we see.
Kind of what I'm hearing right now is that even though you're maybe originally known for a strength athlete and your knowledge about training strength, it's much more than that. We're at American Iron, we have like 80-year-old people training there, up to top power lifters and bodybuilders, and
we use these.
we have a whole range. And I know the owners of the gym, Tammy and Bob, are really into like quality of life. And so what I'm hearing is that you may be a strength athlete, but your knowledge is way beyond that, and strength training can help the ordinary person have better quality of life.
Absolutely. Yeah, strength training should it is an essential tool for having the best quality of life that we can, without a doubt.
And not only strength for helping lift stuff, but all these other things that break us down in life.
Wait till you're a granddad and you can't pick up that cute little grandbaby that just got, you're like, they're trying to hand her to you and you're like,
oh my God,
oh my God, that's gonna hurt. Like, oh, I can't help bring the groceries in.
Right.
That sort of stuff. That's a big deal. And
but even like the joints, what you're just talking about, helping people keep a strong back, helping their joints stay healthy.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I kind of like don't like the introduction as like, oh, Chris Duffin, the strength athlete, because I tell people I'm a way better coach than I am an athlete, honestly.
Right.
Like, yeah, but you're a great athlete. I'm like, yeah, but what I do here is like totally. That's actually how I got to that level, because I'm old and beat up. Like, I started hitting my peak at like close to 40, and like you're like, Chris, where'd you come from, by the way? And I'm like, no, I've been training all along. It took me a long time. I had pretty good jobs.
When you told me your age, I was actually surprised. I honestly thought you were like in your 30s or something.
Well, I am. It's very end.
Yeah. I got one early.
I got one more year left. So.
Yeah, when like me and Jay, you basically ripped us apart the last couple days, and it was really interesting for me that like we would have a major issue, but you would like go completely to the root of it, which would be something completely different than what I thought. And I got 15 or 20 years as a powerlifter, and it's still stuff I didn't realize, and I didn't look at it the same way. But even at that, like your knowledge is just so far beyond like just strength training, like imbalances and health and.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of, I guess I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still putting all this together. I'm still getting better. I'm still, so like to sit here and say, I'm great at that. I'm good. I'm proud of it, but I don't have all the answers, right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I am proud of the fact that, I regularly teach people at all levels. Like, you take it from, I work with strength and conditioning coaches for college, for pro teams follow my stuff. Like, I work, go to one of my seminars and you're probably gonna have a bunch of physical therapists and chiropractors in the room sitting next to you learning. Like, that's what I work, I guest speak at colleges on, PhD level all the time. Like, this is like, I'm proud of that, because it's, like, that means what I'm doing has I know what I'm doing has content validity, but the fact that other people see that and recognize that's good. Do I have everything yet? No, it's always getting better. Yeah. But I can tell you that
you'll never be completely happy. You're not happy. You're not the type of, you'll always want to learn more, and you always feel like you need to learn more.
It's a fundamental tenet.
That's who you are.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, there's not many people doing what I'm doing.
Not many at all.
I'll just put it that way.
Even the fact that
a lot of people they don't get to see all of the stuff that I'm doing until you actually come and experience some of it. Like, you can see pieces, I saw that YouTube video, or I saw this, or saw that. Right. It's like, that's just like
a small, it is. It's a very small tidbit
snippet
of the whole thing.
Because
and I think with Kabuki Strength Systems, you're kind of wrapping all this together in a package that hasn't been done before.
Yes, that is correct. So nobody has put all this together in the way that we walk through. Like, I'm taking and using a lot of different principles from a lot of different fields that are well tested, well known, You know, they work, but just like very first thing that you did when you started walking on the floor, you were doing a basic, you know, a basic stretch yoga pose type thing, and I'm like, hey, that's cool, Chad. That's cool. Hey, do this with your hands.
Yeah.
And do this with your traps, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, why did that not dawn on? You know, it's like, so there's a lot of like refinements and stuff that I'm doing very specific to strength training, and that's where like the clinicians that come to my seminars absolutely love it, because a lot of it is stuff that they do and know, but like how it's pulled together and the systematic approach, like, because it is a system.
Yes.
Like people say, oh, can I come learn with you for a couple days, or a couple hours here and there? I'm like, well, you're not really, because I have to have like a bunch of time to actually put and show you the entire, like how it all works together as a package. Because it's like, no, we're working on this, but we gotta understand the whole system and how everything relates,
Right.
And we had a bit of that. We went down the chain with a few different things, but certainly didn't start working the whole system yet. And so that's I don't know. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
It works.
Well, I think working with chiropractors and therapists and all that stuff, to me, is really impressive, because you're actually finally getting these top-level medical people to start looking at what strength means and how it can help them, and finally kind of looking at things a little differently, and how rehab's going to work and how prevention is going to work after that.
Well, it's really, so this part, I mean, it's training is incredibly important, and I think sometimes on the, particularly the clinical or medical side, we forget that, and we focus on these cool little things and moves and whatnot, and we did some of those. But all that was actually just to teach you.
Right.
To teach you to be able to do it. Like we were working with Jesse today, and we'd go off and do stuff for 15 minutes, and we come back and we're like, all right, let's squat, Jesse.
Yeah.
Did it work or did it not? Because we want where the bet, the rubber meets the road is, we want to squat, and we want to add load to the squat. And if we can do that properly and move properly, he's going to live better through strength, and he's going to move more weight, because there's this silly little thing called, the body responds to progressive load. You have to continue to add stressors for it to respond, for basically tissue modifications to happen, for things to rehab, to whatever you want to call it. Like, that's why I'm a huge proponent of, like, I do all this other stuff, but it all still comes back to, let's move right and train.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get too, it's fun to play around and do magic tricks and do all this stuff, and we need to do that sometimes. And sometimes I need to send some homework along with someone to help get them where they need to be. But at the same time, we don't stop training and applying that to the training.
Right.
So, yeah.
Definitely one of the most impressive things I think about you, is that you're extremely book smart, but you're able to put it into this practical use, because you've been there, you've done that, you've experienced the things. Whether someone who may be really smart doesn't see that. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a road and driving like the actual road, like there's a blind spot or something, like the engineer probably thought that idea was great, but in practical use, it's a horrible choice.
That's a good analogy, because I've dealt with that a lot with like in the engineering field when I work that field. It's like, exactly, you can read all the books and know all the design software and like design something that just simply doesn't work or isn't functional. We kind of talked about that. You've got to have both. You've got to be. So I'm not anti-intelligence, anti-research. I love that, but at the same time, you got to get out and do it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, let's go squat some weight. Let's
on paper's one thing, and actually doing it in the real world.
You've got to do both if you want to be, if you want to excel, and so that's a really important thing to me. That's why, I post and write. I show a lot of other stuff that I do in my life, because I'm like, you need to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you
need to get some diesel fuel on those things.
That's right. You got to get some diesel fuel on your hands. Had you experience that yesterday?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed a lot the last day was like, and I got into a bad habit of this that you made me realize. And I see this in a lot of powerlifting. I've done a lot of seminars. I've been to a lot of seminars. Say somebody's squatting and their knees aren't out. We're like, hey, push your knees out. And you look at it and go, okay, maybe your knees aren't out, but we need to start from the bottom and teach you your feet twisting, place, whatever you want to call it.
That's our advanced
And,
rooting technique.
Yeah,
by the way, a lot of
rooting. That's
a lot
the
of
word I
people-
was looking for.
Some of the rooting techniques are getting published
Yeah.
out there, and like it's getting more popular. I see some
Yeah.
of the other coaches, clinicians talking about it. Nobody's doing what we're doing on the
No.
advanced rooting standpoint yet.
nobody
I
is.
tell you.
But I mean, instead of just going, okay, we'll put your knees where they're supposed to be, you're going, that's not the issue. You're trying to fix a problem without actually getting to
Yeah.
the root of the problem.
Yeah, because you can put the knees there and never fix what actually would improve your performance.
Right.
Or reduce your injury risk.
Right.
You can make it look like a squat's supposed to look like.
Right. But it's still not
And that-
doing what it's actually supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
So you're doing a lot of really amazing stuff with Kabuki strength systems right now.
Kabuki movement systems. That's
Kabuki movement
yeah.
systems. Like, so tell me, like, how can people find out about this stuff?
So one is, I spent last year filming a bunch of videos, doing a lot of writing to go with those videos, to create basically an online repository of information. It's like a video encyclopedia, and it's at kabuki.ms, not .com, kabuki.ms for
Okay.
movement systems. Maybe it's like Madagascar or something like that, but yeah, I like it. It sounds cool. Some weird country somewhere, but kabuki.ms is the movement portal. So you sign on there, real affordable, $10 a month,
Yes.
and we're constantly adding content on there, and so we've got it laid out in the systematic, like guided tutorial manner, or you can just go knee and see all the knees related to all the videos related to knees, so, or you could go, I want to look at glutes, and you could cycle it even further. You can go, I want to look at glute rehab, I want to look at glute firing, I want to look at glute lifts to be stronger. It's multi-indexed in that fashion, or you can just do an open search and type in whatever you want. Type in aches, and you'll find I don't have any videos on you on that. But if I did, they would have popped up. We might change that.
So,
So that's great. And then our main site is kabukistrength.com. And so there's a link to kabuki.ms. We've got a lot of authors on there that are both strength coaches in different fields. And as they relate to different sports, baseball, football, so on. A lot of clinicians that are writing for us as well. So tons of great content being added on there. Our store's on there, links to kabuki.ms, all that stuff. So also athlete training logs for our sponsored athletes are on there as well. Yeah.
so I think with the Kabuki MS site too, it's like, I mean, first of all, it's only $10.
Yeah,
Which
and then
is
we do
a
a
huge amount of information.
we
for
do
$10.
a seminar as well. So we do only 4 years. I talked about. I come in with it's me, my staff. It's a 2-day, very intensive, hands-on of the Kabuki MS, where we can dive further. You're going to get hands-on, like coaching, cueing, observation of your lifting, and then we will certify as well. Not for just attending the course. You've got to kind of demonstrate, but you've got to go to one of the seminars to be able to do that. So that's really, really great experience if that's something that you can fit into your schedule, you can afford, it fits what you want, but nothing will match that. But if you can't do that, then the next step is just sign up for the kabuki.ms. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think even the Kabuki MS, I think it's great for a lifter up to, like, if you're a physical therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon.
We have
any of those people
we
can
have
learn.
all those on our site from like somebody that's just getting into lifting, because I get that question too all the time. Like somebody goes, "Oh, well, I'm just getting into lifting. Should I look into that in a couple of years?" I'm like, "God, no!
No.
Like,
Look into it
why don't you
now.
start from the beginning? Oh my God, just start now.
Right. Yeah. But I think that is like this huge reference for anybody at all. And then I think the seminar is pretty much great for anybody too. And you didn't mention the Duffin, the Duffalo bar or the shoulder rock.
Yeah.
You got some pretty cool equipment out there right now.
Yeah, I mean,
and more coming.
More coming. So yeah, a lot of our stuff all relates to movement and safety. Like we want people to live better through strength, and we're building the tools, designing and building the tools to allow people to do that. And everything is, like, our stuff is made here in the USA. We got Duffalo bar behind us.
And I'm leaning on it, and it hasn't bent yet. Well, not it's bent on purpose, but.
But it's they're all made right here in Portland, Oregon. We do a lot of the machining and assembly work ourselves. So this is relying a lot on my background, but this is, a lot of people, this is not sourcing this stuff in China. We're not reselling like somebody else's design. Like these are very specific tools. And you put that bar on your back.
It's just picking it up. I'm still looking forward to benching with it, but just picking it up, I can feel like my back getting into the right position is so much easier, and it's way easier on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like every gym in America should have. I don't care if a commercial gym should have these. Actually, a commercial gym should probably have them even more because of the stupid things people do in commercial gyms.
I agree.
Yeah, and it is handmade, and you guys, it's not like it's being made in China with no quality control. I mean, it's not leaving your shop unless it's right.
Yep.
Which is a pretty big deal too.
It kind of is.
It kind of is. You have any more questions?
I think that's about it.
All right. Mr. Duffin, thank you for doing our interview.
Thank you. Hey,
come on, shake his hand.
Thanks for coming out here and also doing some four-wheeling and help me disassemble some diesel fuel bowls and get all messy. That was a good time too. So
I was pretty good.
You were a good
passenger too.
You were a pretty good sport about it.
Yes.
So. And you didn't freak out every time we were getting somewhere nasty. You jumped right back in the rig with me.
I think I actually laughed.
I don't know if you were laughing when we were sitting like on two wheels on the side about ready to roll down that hill like 4 times.
I was actually chuckling, but I was making sure my arm was on the inside.
Yes. Good man.
All right, Chris, thank you a bunch.
Thank you.
So that was the end of the interview with Chris Duffin. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I would really like to thank Chris for having me and Jesse up there for 3 amazing days. We did all kinds of crazy, fun stuff. Learned a lot, got to train a lot. Hopefully people learned a little bit about Chris in the interview and what an amazing person he is all around in all aspects of his life.
I had a lot of respect for him before, but it's grown since then, and that's a lot. I mean, that says a lot because, I just felt he was such an amazing person, and to know just little bits and pieces about him, it just adds to that sense of how truly unusual and unique he is, and how much he has to contribute to our sport.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. The sport's way better with him.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah.
And again, like we mentioned before, hopefully we can get him down here for a seminar, and like anybody that watches this podcast should definitely think about trying to attend that when we get it all together.
Yep, absolutely. We'll keep you updated. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you spending your time with us, and hopefully you got something out of this interview, and we hope to see you back again next Monday morning at 6 a.m.
Thanks for joining us.